Oh, hi, Chris.
Hey.
Miriam said she might be a bit late, so
Yeah. Yeah, I realised I hadn't sent her my section. I'd been uploading it each time onto the Dropbox and forgot we meant to send it to her, but I sent it across this morning. So hopefully she's got it.
Hello.
so it's still in separate bits. All right.
Yeah, I think we took the separate sections and basically just refined them all one last time. I think for Miriam to then combine, basically just to make sure that each section was as fine tuned as possible.
Yeah. I like the concept. So which is the latest Hull one, or is that not really helpful?
Just having a
About
look.
the 12th of April, I suppose. That.
Yeah, I don't think there is one. I assume we'll be getting one off Miriam tonight.
I think she's been sending it around by email, so I'm not sure there's the latest one.
Right. Right. Well, if anyone wants to start sort of going through, possibly in the order of sections or something like that, I think that'd be fine. I don't think Miriam would particularly want us to wait, but probably need her before we do any sort of an overview.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we have nothing else to discuss, I can. So I was thinking at the feedker, if someone wants to give me feedback, I sent it to Miriam. So I had a broad idea which I sent to Miriam, and she said we can talk on Friday. Maybe I can at least get some input from people here.
Yeah.
If people have time. So, well, I was just thinking that, or maybe or people are still joining, so maybe I wait. I don't know what's best.
I think share your screen and
Hello,
show us.
everybody. Sorry, I was
Hi.
5 minutes
Hi,
late.
Ken.
Hey.
Now, I was just thinking that I was giving a thought to the figure because Miriam had given a thought and she said we can talk today. I just wanted to ask if the idea could make sense. I was just thinking that because we have 6 main chapters, my feeling is that we have 3 chapters that are mainly focused on the policy questions, so goals or objectives. I don't know what's the best description, which are the pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical intervention and health economics. And then my thought is that the other 3 chapters were more about the tools or the, like more technical, let's say, which is data and theoretical framework and primary estimation. But then maybe someone can make some. If this makes sense, and I don't know if this division makes sense, then we could think at more elaborate pictures. Like I had a second sketch, but I had this second sketch. If you can see this new picture, but
Yeah, they are a bit like overlapping because you have goals and then you have tools to reach the goals, sort of. But in
right,
the
so
interventions, you would use like this.
Have you seen the have you seen the diagram of the modeling paper?
yeah,
Because that's
I
that
can
has
pull it
both
up.
that has both pictures for the various sections, but it also has comments on the way they're linked.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
I
that's
saw it yesterday.
Maybe a similar
Um,
structure would work here rather than
yeah,
what-
I'm searching for it. So that
I agree. This is just Mina. Sorry, my video is not on. I'll put it on to say hi and then I'll switch it off. I agree at the moment. I don't think you want to stratify them like you did. There is a flows between them that interlink them in one way or another.
so you're
You
saying
can
that
make
the
it like a
present
color
order of the
changing.
sections.
Yeah, I don't think that sort of the 2 pie chart split that we saw are doing justice.
no, indeed. So the pie chart was mostly to first ask if the idea of these two broad sets makes sense. If this idea doesn't make sense at all, then maybe we can think of something else.
So what I'm saying is that I don't think you can split them as being split, because what Ghana was saying is they're sort of linked. So
And
health
maybe you can-
economics, for example, can be a tool as well as an intervention.
I was thinking, is it possible because you can have like a color and color changing, like I don't know, like rainbow colors or whatever. Can you make it somehow maybe with the color as the things are changing, going from one into another, so that they're not like completely separate things where you can put clear boundaries, but they are, flowing from one into another.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
if you
do-
pull
I-
out the
I think
modeling.
am I right? I think it's I imagine, so please say if this is wrong, that a diagram illustrating the
model.
structure should have that should be like this one, in that it should have the sections are sort of objects, like cards, let's call them. Okay, so there are 6 cards showing the 6 sections, and then there's it flows in between them, and I think what Francesca was suggesting is that possibly the, they possibly divide 3 and 3, well, in the way that these ones divide 3 and 3, but I think if one maybe just put them down as 6 cards, perhaps sort of randomly scattered on a large piece of paper, or in a circle or something, and then and then tried to think what were the most useful arrows connecting them were, the sort of flow arrows. That might be a way to start
it's also similar.
organizing a diagram. And then, when you do a diagram like that, you do it once, and then you realize you've got a whole lot of arrows that are crossing each other. So you rearrange them so they no longer cross each other. But the first thing really is to see if that sort of approach is a good way of describing the structure of the paper.
I think it's similar, no? Because it's like there is 3, for example, for the tools, there is data, there is estimation. For the estimation, you need data and so on. So it could be also like a flow. And then they have to be. Can you maybe show again what was there, whether you can put like arrows similarly like in the modeling paper?
You're on mute, Francesca.
Oh, I didn't see that yours.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm searching here. So the 6 chapters we have.
Yeah, I would say that you can make a link, because like that data also defines theoretical framework, and estimation is also linked to those 3. Sorry, the other 2. Like, I don't know, also NPIs and non-pharmaceutical interventions, they're also linked, and the health economics, it's all together.
Yeah, sure, indeed. So as Chris said like a couple of weeks ago, I think if one makes the links, it's a completely connected network.
But you could split them still. Well, I think it's still, for me at least, this division in like, well, not in pie charts, but it also, I can see more the tools, and I can see more.
So maybe my main question is if it makes sense to identify 2 broader sets like these, or if you think they should be divided in a different way, because then I had another sketch, but it's more complex and maybe it hides. So this was one idea, to identify the goals or the questions, and then what we use to tackle the questions. But I'm not good at drawing, as you can see, or at visualizing thing. It was just I think maybe an option to start discussing about that.
I quite like the idea, because you basically have these 3 areas of tools that all kind of relate to each other. So your data is used in your parameter estimation, and your sort of data and your framework are going to feed back and forth with each other when you're developing the models, and then all 3 combined you would use to address those different policy questions. And yeah, so if you just tried drawing links from each of them, you would get this connected network, but you could split them. So basically the same as in the modeling paper, you'd have the 3 tools which all sort of have a connection to each other and have some sort of cyclical relationship. And then those 3 then have an arrow going from that box to the other 3. It's basically saying, okay, these tools that you kind of develop in unison are then applied to help you tackle all of these questions. But again, there'll be another backwards feedback loop where, okay, the policy interventions that you want to answer will help you come up with the model framework that you need. So there'll be some back and forth.
I think we should be. Well, maybe we need a little bit more discussion, but I think maybe it would be quite a nice idea to just have a competition for the best diagram, so that each of us can go away and try to make the best diagram to represent what's going on here, and then we can have one prize for getting the best network structure, and another prize for showing it in the most beautiful way, and then hopefully we can combine the 2 and end up with a good diagram. But I think I just think if we discuss it much more as one lot of people, we're going to coalesce on some solution which is not necessarily optimal. Whereas if we go away and think differently, someone may try out some slightly different way of doing it that actually works better. See what I mean? I think it might be better for, now we have the idea that I think it's a good basic idea and a good starting point, but I think anyone who likes to have fun with a piece of paper should go away and
Yeah, I totally agree. I just wanted to boost the to boost the conversation maybe, because I'm really not good at visualization.
Well, no, but I think, but it's, what I'm trying to say is I think there are two different things. There's one to have a good understanding of what you're trying to represent, which is what I mean by getting the network right, and the comments that go on the arrows you want and the words that you want to go on the arrows. And then it's a different skill to maybe rearrange them on a piece of paper so the whole thing looks pretty. And I think, So I think a bit of experimentation.
It's pretty basic, right? It's not like a super advanced drawing. It's just like boxes with arrows. So
yeah. No, I don't think we should make it too complicated. I mean, I think that the one in the modelling paper is about as complicated as we want it to get. I mean, if you look at the policy paper, that was a much simpler diagram, just showing things like on the spokes of a wheel. And I think that was because, rightly or wrongly, the people in the policy paper felt there was just a flow, like the clock going round from 1 to 9 or whatever it was. Whereas here, I think we feel it's a bit more complicated, which I think makes a figure that much more worthwhile. Hi, Miriam.
Hi, hello.
Hi. We've just been, Francesca had come up with a good sketch to start us thinking about.
Yeah, she sent it to me by email, and I also liked it.
And what I was just suggesting after a bit of discussion was that maybe we should almost like have a little competition, that people should go away separately and have a little think as to what the best way to represent this is and which arrows you need to connect sex with each other, because there are two things we'd be trying to get right. One is what kind of structure we're trying to represent, okay, what the relations really are. But then there's a separate skill, which is artistically showing this by arranging it in the best way. And if several people have different goes, I think we might come to the best result.
But
Miriam, I don't know if you were here when I was showing the modeling. So we were seeing the modeling drawing, which is also interesting.
no.
It's the modeling chapter.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah. That what boosted the idea of further arrows and maybe make the connections more explicit.
Okay, so this is also the relationship between different sections of the paper in a sense.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a sort of visual representation of a contents list, trying to be a little more than just a contents list.
Yeah,
so I mean, I'm calling cards, a card for each section, and then you have the arrows and the groupings that hopefully help to explain the relation between them.
Yeah, Naya, my first idea was to do this in a sense to also have the challenges in this figure, or at least some of them, because maybe not all of them is possible. So to have more than just, let's say, a structured view of the chapter.
Yeah. So it could be like trees, where each section is a tree, and you have flowers on them, which are the challenges. Or so. Well,
okay,
in a very simplified way, you know. Something
okay,
like that.
Okay. But I mean, the idea is then, of course, also to kind of interrelate them to show what, you know. And then we had the discussion that you then get a network where everything is connected to everything else, which is, of course, then not so informative. So what I liked about Francesca's figure was that there was a flow in it. You know, there were like two different types of quantities, and one was the more, let's say, the flow that you have when you actually work on a model, and the other was more the, let's say, the things that you model, like the types of interventions. And that I liked about it, that it was not, so there were different levels to it.
Yeah. Another thing to say is that in the discussion this morning for modeling, we were agreeing that it would be nice to have it would be nice to have be a nice bit of consistency through the volume to have a sort of diagram like this explaining this structure for each paper.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and in the data paper, we were discussing the same thing yesterday. And in the data paper, we have Min Chen involved, who is specialist in visualization, and they're going to do an extra paper on visualization. So I've suggested that he might be the obvious person for this role of helping people to do really nice diagrams. So particularly, Miriam, I'm thinking here, if you are suggesting a slightly complicated idea, that it would be nice to have this picture showing relation between the sections, but also to include the challenges. It might be that someone like Min could, or maybe he's not personally, but someone in his sort of group might be very good at suggesting a kind of way of presenting it that's, that isn't cluttered.
Yeah. I mean,
So I think we should do our best, but when we've done our best, if we feel it's getting a bit complicated and difficult, we could maybe try someone outside like that to streamline it. Anyway.
Okay, but let's first, I think we can still be creative ourselves a bit. And I mean, we don't necessarily need to have the challenges in it, because that's a lot of text. And now I also made this table where I put the challenges kind of in a list.
Yeah, I think the challenges would only really work in a diagram like this if you could have a catchword, one word or two words for each challenge. That would, in the same way that, I mean, for instance, with the papers in this collection have all got, well, some of them have got fairly long titles, but they all each of them also has a one-word title. This is interventions. And then there's modeling and so on. But the titles of papers are longer, but at least there's one word for each of them, which is sufficient that if you put it on in a diagram, you know which one you're talking about. But anyway, we were filling in time until you came along, Miriam. But I'm sure the main substance is to look at the drafts of the various bits and just check that they will all fit back together again, and say what you would like people to be doing going forward.
Okay.
The diagram could just be a helpful bit.
I must say I'm not completely finished with integrating everything. So I still have to integrate Ben's section, so that's section 5, I think, into the new draft. And then I still have to finish writing the conclusion section, which I don't want to make too long, because we do have already quite a lot of text. And my idea was that I would then send it around. So the next step would be that I send it around to everybody, and that we then kind of comment on the whole chapter, and you send me comments and track changes for the whole chapter then.
Sounds good.
Otherwise, I don't really have a lot to say today, I think. Let's see, I'll just look at the, we need an abstract still. Maybe somebody can write a draft abstract. I don't know what the requirements are for epidemics, but we can look that up.
Maybe we can, hi Miriam, this is just Mina.
Hi.
Maybe, sorry, I will put my video on. Hi, maybe we can tailor it based on what the abstracts are in the data modeling and estimation papers, which are more or less done. Because they are quite short and really concise.
Okay. I didn't receive anything yet from your the section on
vaccination.
No, not vaccination, the data.
I was on the I commented on section 4. Was I on something else that I wasn't aware of?
Oh, I thought you were also involved in the data challenges, so section 2.
Okay, I thought that meant data paper, sorry, which I am involved in. Okay,
Ah,
I can get back to you on that.
yeah, I mean, I see that Chris was the organizer for that. Is he here today?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I emailed
Chris,
you that this morning.
Did I
Oh, you did?
miss an email or something, or
Maybe. I'll have a look.
Okay, then
or
I
was
did.
I missed on an email?
I think you were copied in.
Okay.
Okay, Chris, then I
I
didn't.
got a bounce back. I sent it a day
I
you were on
didn't-
holiday.
Did I include it? Okay, let's see.
Sending the email for the vaccination section.
It was the same
did-
one. That was chapter 4.
That was section 4. Yeah,
Section
that was
4.
section 4. So I didn't get your comment if you sent them by email. So I
I
just uploaded what
sent
I had
them inside the document late last night.
online.
No, I sent an email last night at.
Oh, I didn't get that. Did you send it
At
to me?
0048 to Francesca, Lorenzo, Chris.
Oh, I'm afraid I didn't get that one. Let me check.
Shall I forward it again?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
But
Oh, yeah, now I see it. Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, I tend to write very late. I apologize.
Okay,
No,
that's section
my
4,
mistake.
so-
I didn't see it in the list.
Yeah.
But okay, but then I guess Miriam got it probably by
Okay, so
email.
is that the final version?
I think
Yes, the last one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I'll
it does
integrate.
need a little bit. Sorry, I think it does need a little bit of more work, but I don't think standing on its own. I think it needs more work when read with the other sections.
Yeah. Okay, I have to finish this work of integrating the pieces that you've sent me. So I have to make sure that I have them all and copy them into the main text. So then I'll make a new version of the whole document, and that I will send around to all of you. And then, the next.
I'm happy to have a go at the abstract if that's going to help. But
Okay,
but let me
sure.
know when.
Yeah, anytime. We don't have an abstract yet. We don't have a draft yet. So I think you're welcome.
But I think it will be better once you've amalgamated them.
Yeah,
I read
okay.
it as a full thing, then
Right.
I write the abstract.
Okay, so then I will try to send around the whole paper. Well, I'll try to do it on the weekend. If not, it will be Monday.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I will make some time Tuesday afternoon, evening to draft something.
Okay, and then I would like to ask everybody else to just then comment with track changes on the text as a whole, and send me the comments, and also to check in your section whether the references are all there and correct. I'm now putting them all at the end in alphabetical order. And then I have also made a table, which is completely at the end now, where I put together all the challenges, these bullet points that you formulated and sent me.
Can I
Right,
check?
and-
Sorry, can I check, Chris? Do I have an action outstanding on section 2?
No, I think if you're planning on reading through the whole paper and pulling together the abstract, I think that should be enough. You can see if anything needs work in section 2 then.
well, you sent it, Chris, right? Because I mean, at least I don't know. We looked, you looked, and Francesca looked. So
Yeah, so I've had comments from Gano, Francesca, and Daniel.
Okay.
And I think I've sent it to you this morning, Miriam. I realized I'd accidentally I'd taken all the comments and uploaded it to the Dropbox, but completely forgot that we were supposed to email it to you.
Okay.
So it should
Yeah,
be in your inbox.
I saw the things in a Dropbox, but then I'm not sure, is it now the final version, or is somebody still going to change something? So that's why I didn't take it from the Dropbox. So if you email it to me, then I'm sure.
Yeah,
about
so it
that.
should be. I replied to your email this morning.
Okay.
Subject meeting tomorrow, so hopefully it's there. We've been having some Manchester email issues though, so
Okay.
if it's not there, let me know.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing that I noticed, for example, when reading through the sections, is that there are sometimes a lot of like MedArchive papers cited, and sometimes there are already better citations of really published papers. So I thought you, Miriam, said like don't add more references, but I thought at least some references maybe could be just swapped or changed, or
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we have to do anyway before submission. We have to check whether references need to be updated, stuff that's now in MedArchive is maybe then already published, or
yeah, and stuff might get updated in the next month or so as well.
Yeah. That's always a race against the clock in a sense. Okay. But I mean, I think we are somehow getting to a, let's say, not final, but at least complete version.
And would people, will people chase this idea of trying a diagram showing the relation? Helena in the chat was putting a remark about checking the cross references between the various different sections. And of course, maybe that's the kind of thing to get right first before you finalize the diagram. Because presumably cross references between the sections, you are trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to check, it's two things, isn't it? You're trying to check that in the text there are these cross references where they're appropriate, but also you're trying to take an overview of the cross references to see if that helps you see the structural relations.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I don't, Francesca, are you going to continue with this figure? Are you going to work it out more, or who is going to do this?
It depends. I don't know if we want to have a round where everyone thinks, as Dennis was suggesting.
Well, maybe Francesca could coordinate the diagram, and if people would like to each have their own thought about. Francesca, is your diagram in the? Could you put your diagram in the Dropbox?
Yeah, so I put the
And then if everyone has a look at that, but then thinks if it could be done in some completely different way that they would like to suggest, then they can maybe also put that in the Dropbox or email Francesca or whatever. And as I say, I think it's related to this question Helena raises of checking the cross references between the sections and and seeing if it's because the diagram should summarize those. So
right. Yeah, so if you put an arrow into the figure, check also whether there is a mentioning in the text.
Exactly.
Relationship. That's maybe the easiest way.
There may also be more cross references in the text than we want in the diagram. So not all connections are created equal, right? But we can,
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we would need to prune, but yes, at least.
Well, exactly. I mean, you might have 5 cross references from one section, but you might say, well, actually, what is going on can be summarized by putting in just 2 main arrows or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, we can also maybe look on the internet or some other papers to get some inspiration for nice figures.
Yeah.
I had the idea of like, because there is flow of like changing color, like if you make colors and changing colors, but I have no clue how to actually draw that.
I've only had a very superficial look at the visualization paper, which is draft of which is in the data Dropbox, but I did notice that has lots of beautiful looking figures. So it might give some inspiration as to the different kinds of diagrams one can draw.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot you can do in PowerPoint in that respect, at least if you stick with kind of standard shapes like circles and arrows and stuff like that. But okay, of course, if you have more fancy visualization programs, then you can probably do more, but
Yeah.
I would start with PowerPoint.
I think PowerPoint would probably be fine for drafting it, and
Yeah.
because I think whatever we want, there will be a PowerPoint version of it. And
Mm.
if the PowerPoint version looks a bit clunky, then as a final design stage, you can ask someone to make it more beautiful or
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
flowing or something. But sure, it's
Mhm. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks very much, Miriam.
And also, I mean, I don't know, do I have everybody now as on the list of authors who contributed? Otherwise, put your name on it. There was already some discussion on somehow order of authors. I don't know if you have any ideas about that.
Yeah, well, the recommended scheme is is that the coordinator is the first author, so that would be you, Miriam,
Mhm.
and everyone else is just in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Is the suggestion. So unless anyone has a very strong reason for thinking it should be different, that's what we would recommend.
Okay, it's fine with me. But okay, everybody make sure that also everybody is on there who contributed.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of making a significant contribution.
Yeah,
If
okay.
there's some people who just made small contributions from time to time or whatever, we can thank them at the end of the paper.
Yeah.
That was my question, actually. It's completely irrelated. Yesterday, I was reading the modeling paper and was so much tempted to start just commenting there because there were also like references, some missing, and it was about HIV, and that's the field where I work, and some other things. And I thought, should I actually do it? Because I didn't write anything there. And I don't know whether it's welcome or whether it's needed. I don't know.
If you have any comments, Ganna, do please send them to the modeling paper. It's Glenn Marion. So if you should drop him an email. Just
Okay.
yeah, please do.
So I should not do it in that draft, because there are still comments in that draft, so it's not like final.
Not in the document. Maybe send him. Well, to start with, at least send a separate email. I would suggest.
Okay.
Just with if you think there are many comments you could make, just send a few so that he has an idea of the kind of thing you are suggesting, and then leave it to him to.
Okay.
But yeah, it'd be very helpful, and I think we're encouraging people to, if they have the interest, to read across all. It's one of the purposes of having a common Dropbox, that you can see what all the other papers are up to, and if you have any comments to offer, the best thing is to email the. I think it's a bit too much for people who are involved in different papers to start editing other groups' documents, but so it's better to send an email to the coordinator.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because we are also coordinating about how this paper or manuscript is being edited. So I guess maybe they also don't want that somebody new comes and messes around. But it's very interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard back from either Hans nor Viola about the paper, so they apparently didn't yet have time. So I will send them also a new version when everything's integrated.
Okay.
Okay. I think I don't have any further things to say. So thanks anyway up already for all your work up to now. And yeah, you'll hear from me soon per email.
Okay, thanks very much, Maria. Okay, so have a good weekend.
Okay, have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.